Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. We are still spilling the tea and committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman, live, direct, it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
Big things are happening at CMR TV. We're excited to announce that Phase 2 of our expansion project officially launches on September 1st. With this next phase, we're welcoming new partners, new shows, and new opportunities for the Cayman community. From sports coverage to community events and the much-anticipated relaunch of our youth program, there's something for everyone. If you're a middle or high school student who's interested in being part of our new youth show, we want to hear from you. Details and participation criteria will be released soon. But that's not all. We're calling on content creators across the Cayman Islands. If you have a show idea or want to share your voice, this is your chance. Reach out to us at info@cmrtv.com and become part of the growing CMR TV family. We're also excited to announce a brand new feature, the Cayman Music Hour. Each week, we'll spotlight local musicians across all genres, from reggae to soca, hip-hop to gospel. If you're a Caymanian musician and want your music featured on our platform, now is the time to submit. Please note, songs must be free of profanity. And we're not stopping there. Churches, religious organizations, and cultural groups, CMR TV is opening the doors for you too. Whether you want to share services, cultural programs, or community showcases, this is your platform. It's an exciting time at Cayman Marl Road as we continue to grow CMRTV.com into the ultimate destination for news, entertainment, culture, and community. So stay tuned because the best is yet to come.
Great news, Cayman! Tim Hortons is finally open and ready to serve you. Start your day right with our delicious all-day breakfast or grab a box of our famous Timbits and a dozen donuts for a sweet treat. Need a quick pick-me-up? Swing by our drive-thru for your favorite espresso drink anytime. We're open weekdays from 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. on the weekends, closing 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, with 2 entrances at the Shamrock Road Roundabout in Red Bay. It's time for Tim's.
On his extraordinary journey from Miami across the Sahara through to Cairo into Mecca. Welcome to one of the greatest caravan ever seen. Welcome to the Monster World. cross the bloody sea. This is for the memory of those who drowned in the forgotten oceans. This is for the memory of those who plantations. This is for the memory of all those who strive to overcome the strife and triumph after all the pain. This is for the memory of the ancestors. As a people, what do we want? What do we want? What do we want? We want peace. We want justice. So, if we want no more trouble, we must be willing to do the difficult work of journeying into ourselves, into our stories, into our heritage. We are about to do something sacred. Bring me my Stanley calabash and pour me a drink. Let me honor the ancestors to open the portal. Saraga bum bum bilakaka. Saraga bum bum bilakaka. Saraga bum bum bilakaka. You didn't tell me what was hot. Wherever you are, be still. Hold your body, hold your thoughts, and together let us open the portal into the past. For the journey within can be painful, but in the depth of that pain is understanding. Let us explore the mist of memory.
All right, folks. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. How is everybody doing? Did you enjoy that? That was so, it gave me goosebumps. I don't know about you guys, but it was so amazing to really see that in play. And that is, folks, Carifesta being celebrated in Barbados as we speak. So Cayman left, the Cayman contingent group of 84 persons strong left on Thursday evening. And they have, my apologies, they've been having an amazing time. And gosh, makes me want to be there when I see these types of performances. Now, I can tell you that the Carifesta celebration is nothing short of amazing. They are having all sorts of different types of events. So there's a daily schedule every single day. So I'm going to show you guys the schedule for today, just to give you an idea. Next time, if you're able to go, wow, by all means, please do so. Now, they're having some different discussions, and I honestly don't even know if these will be live streamed anywhere, but I really hope so that we can get a little bit of insight into these. So today's day 4. They're going to have workshops, performances, visual arts, exhibitions, and fashion to relevant conversations around arts, Caribbean arts, and culture. So don't forget now, this is after a 6-year hiatus. Carifesta is back, and they have come out with a kaboom, a big one, and lots of events. Barbados is hosting it this year. And I tell you what, they have pulled out all of the stops. Big shout out to Barbados. I'm going to do the message from the Honorable Mia Motley so that you can see when she did her little invitation. I just love listening to her. She could be saying anything and nothing and everything all at the same time. It's just her accent that gets me. Her accent, her intonation, like I just love to listen to her. And she's a force to be reckoned with. Of course, every single Caymanian that is there right now is so excited to be grabbing a picture with the very, very famous and seems to be a lovely lady, Mia Motley, and posting them all on social media. And I'm sitting here envious of their journey. And I'm just like, really? You're going to rub it in? You're rubbing it in my face. Is that what you're doing? Not nice. So yeah, they seem to be having a fabulous time. That was one of the performances yesterday afternoon. And we posted a little bit on social media about it because, you know, as a region, we share a lot in common. We do really have this common thread. Sometimes we forget, you know, how much or how connected we are with each other. But don't forget, I mean, this is, you know, this is important stuff. So this was the performance for it's called Manza Musa Orchestra. And so they did this performance, and it was a collaboration between Ghana and Barbados. And the production took all viewers through a journey of the past, present, and future, weaving lessons of history, resilience, and hope into a breathtaking musical story. So that was yesterday's showcase. And wow, really, really absolutely fascinating. Apparently they do this production called The Lost Trail of Gold. Looks amazing. Love it. So yes, if you're there, continue to have a good time. I think they come back the end of this week. And then the event will wrap up the end of the month, which, by the way, is almost here. Today's the 25th already. Where did the month of August go? Leo season is over. I know the Virgos, I think it's Virgo. They're coming up now, and they're like, look at us. We can't roar, but we're here. All right, here's her welcome video that she did.
Hello to my dear Caribbean family and friends of the Caribbean the world over. This is your sister inviting you to Carifesta, the most spectacular, exquisite festival of the Caribbean arts ever. After a 6-year hiatus due to the COVID pandemic, we are hyped and ready to celebrate the sheer joy of being Caribbean. The government and people of Barbados, my friends, have the honor of hosting the 15th edition of CariFesta from the 22nd of August to the 31st of August of this year. I can assure you that we are hard at work here and that it will be beyond your expectations. The climate crisis, my friends, coupled with global economic uncertainties and the terrors of war and rumors of war, have become staples, regrettably, of our daily diet in the last few years. And in the face of these challenges, we can sometimes feel completely helpless. Yet we also know well the deep sources of our own power, the power which on the most difficult days helps us to get up, rise up, take a few steps, and face the world, ready to engage, come what may. Like a promise eternally fulfilled, joy always, always comes in the morning. This is the resilience that defines us as people of the Caribbean. We are no ordinary people nor no ordinary generation. We carry the DNA of ancestors who survived the very worst with a heroism and a heroism that ensured that their children, grandchildren, and great-great-great-grandchildren would one day be carried safely ashore to a world of freedom with respect for their humanity. It is at times like this when we still quietly grieve for the thousands of loved ones lost to a pandemic. And when, try as we can, we just can't find firm ground under our feet, that we turn to each other, hold hands, look each other in the eye, and rediscover our inherent capacity for a joy that soothes our pain and opens our hearts to the magical powers of hope. It is this tradition of resilience, my friends, that has and continues to sustain and inspire us to give of our very best. This is why CariFesta 15 will be no ordinary festival. We intend to be true to our theme of Caribbean roots, global excellence, as we reflect on and celebrate and showcase who we truly are. What it will be is the explosive unleashing of the grand reservoir of Caribbean creativity and capacity for celebration. Yes, yes, we have earned this moment, and we must claim it. CariFesta will commemorate where we've come from, where we are at this moment in time, and where we're going on our road to transformation. I want to therefore invite you to join us here in Barbados from August 22nd to August 31st for CariFesta 15. Bring your music, your art, your craft, your dancing, your drama, your food, your drink, your stories, your ideas, your experience, your laughter, your joy, and of course, your love. Bring it all in together. Let us share it with the world. As we would say here at home, miss it and blame yourself. I hope to see you there.
What she say? Miss it and blame yourself. I like that saying. Yes. I mean, wow. Okay. Okay. Like I said, I just enjoy listening to the Honorable Mia Mottley, Prime Minister for Barbados. She just sounds good no matter what she's saying. Shaka says one thing about her is she knows the game well and can talk the talk. That's for sure. I don't know what else she's doing, but she sure sounds good. Shaka Zulu says the Caribbean needs more strong leaders like the Honorable Mia Mottley. Yes, I mean, like I said, none of us really know what the state of affairs are in Barbados. Like we're not analyzing what they're doing as a country and whatever, but I tell you what, according to her, there's a pot of gold on the rainbow, and at the end of the rainbow, we all believe it. Sounds good to me. It's just her presence. She has an amazing presence about her. And I guess that's part of the game. As Cameron says, of being a leader, you got to sound like a leader. You've got to ooze confidence. You've got to speak well. You've got to be able to use your words contextually, correctly, all of that beautiful stuff. And that is the very essence of Mia Mottley. I want to be able to speak like her one day, just for no reason whatsoever. Just because it's fun to sound as good as she sounds. I think I need to work on my accent though. Like I need a much thicker Caymanian accent to really be impactful. I love listening to her. How's everybody doing this beautiful Monday morning? Yes, it is raining Who said that it's rainy in the comment section? Yes, honey child. Yes, strong will. It is a rainy day. In fact, when I was getting in the shower, I was like, oh, it's already thundering, and that probably means lightning. And, you're not really supposed to shower during a storm. And really, what's up with the radio? And so I, Lord Jesus, I give up with this radio business. I really, really do. I can't anymore. Anyhow, yes, the problem is my usual method of connecting, that's down. They can't figure out why. And so this other method isn't my usual method. So I think it doesn't amplify it enough. I don't know. That AI thing is a piece of shit, if you ask me, since we're not on radio. Let me be honest with you. It just does not work well, but they refuse to get rid of it. So nothing I can do. You guys know I don't own the station, but one day, very, very soon, I hope to have my own station. I can tell you from now, Auntie ain't using no AI foolishness for that purpose. Oh no, I'm all about AI, but not when it's making my life challenging. It should be making my life better. Anywho, the events today are amazing. An amazing lineup of things. This is one of them. Big talk, conversation, enough action, day 3. The body unmasked. Ooh, this looks interesting. Ooh la la. What did she say about what cometh in the morning? That's a saying, I think, across the region, really. But yes, this looks amazing. The body unmasked. This is quite a few heavy hitters joining the conversation. From twisted crowns and inked skin to featured defiance and glittered resilience, the Caribbean body is never just dress. It is coded, crafted, and consecrated. Oh my goodness, this sounds like a bigly conversation. The big conversation explores the interactions of hair, body adornment, masquerade, and fashion as tools of self-expression, cultural continuity, and rebellion, drawing from the Caribbean natural hairstyling, henna traditions, tattoos, and the performing arts of mass. Ooh. I wonder if they're going to tell me how some of y'all won't be naked all the time. We journey through the embodied archive of Caribbean aesthetics. This is interesting. So this is a schedule for today, the partial schedule for today, I should say. So in the evening, Anguilla is doing country night. They're doing their festival and Grand Market and Waterford Village. That's the location, I think, yeah. They have different steel pan rehearsals and jam. Grenada is doing their country night. Barbados is doing the folks who live on the hill, and Guyana with August morning. Trinidad and Tobago. Where's Cayman? Where you at? Where you at, Cayman? And of course, our folk singers were there performing. Let me see if I can pull that one up for you. Nice. So yes, our folk singers, hold on a second, honey child, let me find them. They were there performing as well. Give me 1 second. I'm going to find that for you. So it's chock full of a lot of different activities. And it looks like a whole lot of fun. I mean, what can I say? It looks amazing. So give me 1 second here. So that was her welcome message to all. And like I said, she continues to really showcase the entire region. So the whole schedule of events for today, it's quite extensive. Starting at 7 a.m., they have a Carifesta Sustainable Community Beautification Project at various locations across Bridgetown. Discipline, like they have the different disciplines, visual arts, music, and so on. Let me show you this one. But like literally every hour of the day is packed with some amazing event. So basically, you just pick the events, I guess, that you want to go to. And they all look amazing. So I imagine that there are times when you'd want to go to something and you're a bit conflicted. Like, oh my gosh, if I don't go to that one, I'm going to miss something good, but then I want to go to something else. It's like, oh my gosh. So they have screening schedules today. This is film and video screenings that are part of the creative visions on the screen. So, yep. So they've got a bunch of movies that they are featuring. I wonder if we're came on people. Hold on, let me look and see if we're on this list. Film screening. Where's Cayman? Because we just have a film by Young Jazz Pitcairn. Where is it? We have Jamaica, Barbados, Bahamas, BVI, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Jamaica, Barbados again. They have quite a number of films here. Oh, Caribbean Film Festival, Bahamas, Guyana. Where I don't see Cayman in the film list. Oh, St. Lucia. They're doing something called 28 Days. Oh, hold on. We're here. I see us. Hold on. Look at us. Little Cayman on the list. So this is happening today's schedule for the film screening schedule. So hold on. Ooh, we're there. We are on the list. Big up yourself, Cayman. We're just a tiny little country, but there we go. So we are on the list for laying rope at 8:42. No, that's the time. That's how long the short film is. Laying rope. Oh, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I guess we're in that lineup. And it's happening, Caymanians. If you're there, make sure you go check it out at the Golden Square, wherever that is. They're in Barbados. Go check it out. Looks nice. Looks amazing. All right. So chock full of events. I mean, they've done a phenomenal job. I want to show you guys the Caymanian delegation, our folk singers. So hold on. So Cayman has been popping up in a number of different areas, and wherever I see them, well, you know me, I'm gonna be grabbing some footage, honey child. So hold on one second. I thought I had downloaded this already, but let me grab it again. Let me grab it because I want to share with you guys what our folk singers were up to as well. So they have already been featured in a way. So let me see here now. Video. Oh, nope. Okay. Kirks. All right, give me 1 second to just access it. I know I downloaded this, but now I don't see it. So I don't know where it went. Computers. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to grab it again. So I really quite enjoy the folk singers. They have a very interesting harmony that they share together. It's beautiful. So give me 1 second to see if I can share it with you. If you've never heard them, my goodness, you're missing a real treat. You're really missing a treat. Thank you, Dr. Lokloy, for confirming that it's back, honey child. You said the radio is working. Seems to be a bit hit or miss right now, but we'll keep praying on it because literally that's all we can do. Technology should not be that unreliable. We got to pray about it. But there you go. We're praying. We are praying, honey child. So they took the stage at the Village a couple days ago. This is our part of our culture, the Cayman Islands folk singers, bringing the harmony, honey child, bringing the harmony. And they sound really, really amazing. So Voices of Tradition. Here we go, folks. I'm going to share this with you. Someone said, good morning. Mia Motley's a very intelligent woman. Yes. Somebody was telling me that I think she comes from a family of lawyers and stuff too. So they all must be quite eloquent in their own right. And her path to politics wasn't as straightforward as you might think. She had to fight to get there. But I said, well, that's life for you, honey child. Nothing comes easy. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? And there they are in their traditional outfit. Yeah. All right, so there's the Cayman Islands folk singers. Abby says, I miss my favorite classmate, Jean. Jean who? Where is she? Which Jean? Shaka Zulu says Cayman's leadership can learn a thing or two from her achievements since taking office. Well, like I said, we haven't done a deep dive into that because, quite frankly, every country has to handle themselves, their own business. So I just know that whenever she speaks, people pay attention. That's all I can tell you. I don't know how well the economy is doing or anything else, but she does speak up for people and she does speak very, very eloquently. Good morning, Debbie, joining us from Thailand. She says, good morning, Sandy. I love you, Samia. Hi, Jennifer. Miss Lucille's here. Shaka says the Caribbean islands need strong leaders like the Honorable Mia Motley. And yes, the thing I love about festivals and occasions like this is it really brings us together as a people to remind us that we really are amazing as a region, and don't let anybody tell you any differently, right? As a group, we have accomplished amazing things. So whether you're from Barbados, Jamaica, any of the Caribbean regions, my apologies, any of the Caribbean islands, you guys are doing an absolutely fantastic job. It's because we're such small island nations. Like, it's hard for us to even get on the world stage for anything. St. Kitts and Nevis, they did a song, Honeybees String Band. Ooh, hold on, let's look at this one. This looks interesting. So as these performances are happening, by the way, Thursday and Friday, there'll be no show. Sorry, I will not be here. But I am so taken back by all of the performances, and it's kind of making me get in the mood for my vacation in September, which is right around the corner. So exciting times. And I was like, oh my God, I got to be able to get some good footage and all this fun stuff. So I'm starting to take out the things that I that I plan to take with me, the camera gear, minimalistic, but still. And then it occurred to me that, Sandy, so much of this stuff you're not even using. So maybe you should sell the things that have never been used, still in the box, or, So I have a gimbal. So any of you creatives out there who are in the market for gimbal, I think I might offload some microphones. I got some nice Rode mics, gimbals. What else? I have an Insta360 camera that also has never been used. I should be ashamed of myself even telling you all this, but I'm thinking of letting it go. I'm not sure yet though on the Insta, because man, you can get some awesome shots, the invisible handle shots. So I might still use that one. I don't know. We'll see. I'm thinking about that one. I haven't fully committed to letting that one go because I bought it, as I do with all of my little things, with such good intentions, great ideas for capturing some amazing footage, and it just has not happened. Oh my goodness. All right, here's some more from tell me something. What instrument is this man playing? That little, what is that? It's a double guitar? What is that instrument called? Somebody please let me know what that is. I feel like I need one of those in my life. Oh my gosh, what is that? Wow, that's amazing, huh? All right, I'm in awe of anybody who can walk on stilts, much less, it's a double ukulele. Oh my gosh, I need one of those. I don't even know how to play the ukulele. I don't know how to play. I'm just like in awe of that thing. Please, somebody tell me where I can get one. Probably Amazon. But yes, this is amazing. You see him on stilts. Oh, honey child. So when they had the opening event, like the opening dance and whatever, I was making some observations about the costumes. Of course, very, very pretty costumes. And they sure do know how to cover up, not for nothing, but I'm just saying the costumes were elaborate and beautiful. So there's a lot going on. Big shout out to, again, Barbados. You guys are doing an amazing job. And we'll be posting more stuff on social media from Cayman, all the pictures and stuff that are being sent to us. We got a bunch of photos that we did a bit of a photo dump with all of the people who were, let me see here now, who are getting an opportunity to, getting an opportunity to meet different counterparts across the region. So it's absolutely gorgeous. I want to do a big shout out to local artists. Al Ebanks, is Al in class this morning? Where's Al? He has actually been invited to participate in New York Fashion Week. Look at that. So congratulations to Al, because yeah, that's amazing. Good for you. We are happy when our own are doing such amazing and exciting things. So he's going to come on the show tomorrow, and we are going to, then it will send me a code. Yes, so we're very excited to have him on. Oh, hear the thunder in the background. And talk about that journey. That's fantastic. So happy for you, Al. Let me see here now. Cameron says, what were the particulars of the recent visit from the Indian ambassador in an attempt to strengthen ties? I didn't even know he was here. He was here? Yeah, that news missed me completely. Sorry. Must not have been that important. We were asleep at the wheel on that one. Anthony says the Gremlin, Harris, and Solomon still has your UL blocked for radio connection. Oh, that's so funny. A double ukulele. Is that what you just said to me? That's what it is? A ukulele? No. What did you say? It's a double. Yeah, ukulele. Interesting. Double neck guitar or ukulele? A double neck guitar? What is this thing? Looks interesting. I'm interested. Double neck guitar. Oh, let's look. Oh, Amazon has them. Double neck electric guitar, white pearl. Ooh, la la. I think that one though. Oh, yeah, 70s style model in red. Ooh, these are pretty. So I'm assuming if you can have a double neck, they call it what, cutaway guitar, then you can probably have one. You can also have a ukulele. Ooh, they have a do-it-yourself electric guitar kit. That's pretty cool. Huh. All right. Let me not look at anything else, NHL. Oh, what is this? It's a stringless smart guitar, foldable travel backing guitarra, chord generator, app interactive. What is this thing? What? Oh my gosh, I need this. I need this in my life. If I've ever wanted to be a guitar player, this would be the one that would like get me into it. Look at this thing. I'm going to show you guys this. This is so weird and so amazing all at the same time. This is why you don't go on Amazon, you know, because you click on one thing and then it starts showing you other things. The next thing you know, you got a cart full of stuff that honestly you don't really need. But this is just so cool looking. Look at this. I've never seen anything like this before. Look, that's a guitar, a stringless guitar. You're saying? Yeah. Apparently, it's a thing. It looks very futuristic, doesn't it? It looks cool. All right, look. Advanced technology for premium sound. You got a chord pad, a beat pad, mute pad, finger picking pad. But what are you finger picking? Because there's no strings. It says acoustic guitar, 6-string emulation. I don't even know what that means. Strumming paddles, built-in speaker, volume knob. Whoa. And they come in different colors. That's the pearl white. You've got green. You have like a pinkish color. I mean, not for nothing, but I could totally see this in my life. And I do not play the guitar, to be clear. Wow. Anybody ever seen one of these before? Oh my gosh, they got all sorts of interesting things here on Amazon. Whoa. All right, let me come off Amazon because we'll spend a whole show on there and then we'll be in trouble. Oh my gosh. I love music. I don't play a musical instrument, but boy, do I ever wish that I had learned early on. I'm gonna, never too late. That's gonna be my retirement thing that I'm gonna do. Learn to play, my apologies, learn to play an instrument. The instrument of my choice would actually be the piano or keyboard. So I'm actually gonna start GG with lessons pretty soon. But look at, someone said, get off of Amazon. You're getting sucked in. I know, right? Look at this. OMG, what is this thing? Okay. All right, let's come off of that. Couple things before we get to our substantive discussion for today. You're right, I better come off, honey child, because that's nothing but trouble. All right, let's talk about an editorial, which, by the way, I've been encouraging you guys for many, many years now to do video editorials, vlog editorials, but y'all are like so shy. You just want to write in and, oh, Sandy, I want to remain anonymous or this or that or whatever. I'm like, all right. So last night I did one using AI, of course. It doesn't sound too bad, to be honest. Couple little things need to be tweaked, like the way that it says, KY dollars. And that's really how you write it in the script. Like you learn after a while some things you have to phonetically write out for the AI character to really get it quite good. So anyway, this was a complaint about a local retailer. And it really got me to thinking about customer service, retailers locally. And I'm going to say this to my friends in the Indian community. And that's those of you who are business owners, because there are lots of people here in the Indian community who are not business owners. I think y'all have to be careful because there's certain things that might be run-of-the-mill business in India that's, like, I don't know, you go to the market there, everybody bargains you down on pricing and whatever. So this company called Shop Smart came in. Are they the same ones who also own the grocery store? Or is that another group of people? I don't know. But I think that you all have to understand that there's a level of there are differences in customer service. And in this jurisdiction, quite frankly, there is an expectation of certain quality of goods and certain types of honest customer service. And I do feel that although this is the first complaint that we published about this company, it's certainly not the first thing that I've heard. I do feel that you guys are tethering on really putting yourself in a position where people are going to make assumptions about all of your stores, all of your retail stores, all of the little grocery stores and stuff like that. So you guys might want to be a little bit careful. I don't really shop there because when I see these stores, I know that they're like ultra cheap version of electronics, right? Like probably the cheapest that you can get. There's certain things for me that are worth getting from a quality source. And although to be fair to them, I don't know if this is the same company, but the one in Merco Center, one time I had to buy, it wasn't this machine, but my sound card, I think it was, video card went out on me. And I think we bought one from them. But of course, Marlon had to ensure that it was a very, very specific model. He had to check the specs. And I can't even remember if it worked or if it didn't work, but they did say that if it didn't work, we could take it back. I can't remember all the details now. So I think that that's the only substantial, sort of interaction that I've had with them. But I do hear things. So I'm just encouraging you guys to be careful with your business. Even the little jewelry stores out there, we've had complaints about how they treat their staff and stuff already. Yeah, you guys are kind of acquiring a reputation. And it's always the one, too, that then makes everybody look bad. And that's not good. It's like the other day I had, when I was going for, I think it was when I was doing my procedure. Was it the lady who was taking me upstairs? I can't remember now. But anyway, one of the young ladies said to me, Miss Sandy, you might not remember me, but I'm the lady that you helped get her deposit money back because she had paid deposit on a property and then never moved in. And so the landlord, Kimanian, didn't want to give her deposit back. And there was all sorts of mixed up. But the reason why she couldn't move in is because the landlord started changing. Like, I initially was going overseas and now I've changed my mind. I'm not going anymore. So I'm going to be living in part of the house with you. And it was just like really weird. So I said, no. You can't make those types of changes to contract and then think that the tenant isn't going to be like, I'd like to look for alternative accommodations. So she remembered that I had helped her get her money back. I can't remember how much it was now. Might have been a couple $1,000s. These people are not easy. And she was so thankful. And she's actually a nurse at Health City. But yeah, just I'm gonna do a general caution here that you retailers need to be careful. And it occurs to me that when you sell products that you can't stand behind, like these cheap products, not for nothing, but It is, yeah. That's why listen, certain things I don't deal with when it comes to being cheap. I'm going to be honest with you. And there's a difference between being cheap and getting a bargain. There really is a difference. You can get a decent quality item that is on sale, that's a bargain item, and then you can just be going too cheap with your stuff. So remember our dash cams? By the way, we have them in stock. So if you need a dash cam, link me. There's a guy here. I think it's one of these Indian stores as well, you know. Anyway, one of my team sent me the thing, and they're like, they said, oh, this guy is selling this dash cam. I said, honey, chill. Don't worry about that. Because, oh yes, here's the message. This was July 26th. Like to keep my things so I can go back. So this is what my team member said, July 26th. Oh, they're selling it for $399. And I said, well, that's great. Because when you look at the fine print, that means that our cameras for $450 are an amazing deal. Because what he is selling for $399 is not the same camera. It's the same brand, Urquhart's. However, we are actually selling the pro version of the Vantru N4, which comes with certain features, okay? And also, he's selling this for $399. This is just a camera. For $450, you get an entire kit. So you're not just getting the camera, you're getting the SD card, the remote control, the camera, the 3-camera thing, plus you're getting the hard wiring kit, and there's the CPL polarizing lens. So you're getting 5 things in this for $450 plus your 18-month warranty. Now, I'm curious for this company if they're offering you the warranty, because what they're actually doing, and I'm well aware of what they're doing. Oh, it says this listing is no longer available. They even took it down already. But what they're actually doing is they are selling you this camera. You know, they'll just go buy it off of Amazon and sell it to you. That's not what we're doing over here, Bobo. No. We have gone to the manufacturer. We have said, listen, you know, we have a lot of people in the Cayman Islands who apparently are always running into each other in vehicles. So we need a little linky link. So we have become a reseller through the manufacturer. So when I order these, I'm talking to my people in China. I'm talking to the team in California for support and all this kind of stuff. And it's actually a really, really good camera. And I must say their customer service is superb. They really stand behind it. So if anything at all happens, I said, hey, this is what's going on with this camera. It's not working. They say, send it back. And you get an 18-month warranty. So you get that peace of mind for 18 months. So you're paying $450. And so when they send this, this person, she said to me, oh, he's beating your price, I think. And I said, no, he's not. I said, we sell the pro version and the accessories for $450. So he's not even close. Because if you were to then to go and spend $399 for this and then singularly buy the accessories, you're going to be well over $500, pushing $600. So I said, nope, not the same thing at all. But this is where, folks, you got to be careful what you're buying and who you're buying from. I've been in the retail business. I've had a retail license now for, over 10 years at least. And, you know, we sell streaming devices, streaming boxes. Link me if you have any needs with streaming, because some of y'all be confused. I'll be watching y'all in the comment section in this little Cayman group. Oh, you know, how do I jailbreak a device? I'm like, tisk, tisk, tisk. Jailbreaking is so what year are we in? 2025? That is so 2018. There are much better things out there for you now, but you know, we buy good product that we can stand behind, and more importantly, that we're in contact with support, that support will stand behind it. And if we have to ever send anything back, we are able to do just that, right? So be careful, folks. Not all that glitters is gold. This is a very, very interesting and cautionary story about buying products from people that, quite frankly, selling subpar products. And then when they sell it, their markup is rather extraordinary. So in this case, when they went back and tried to exchange the product, they had some issues, but then they were trying to exchange it for a better product, which they had overpriced. So they were trying to get the Blink Mini, and then that was going for $210 at that store, but other places had it for like half the price, basically. Listen, retail is one of those things where I can tell you that you've got to shop around. You just never know. There are times, even here in Cayman, that I will find something cheaper at A.L. Thompson's than I do on Amazon. And I make sure it's the same apples for apples, same code and whatever. And yes, A.L. Thompson's getting it from their manufacturer, their source, and it's cheaper. And so, of course, I always want to support local businesses as much as I can. I know A.L. Thompson's gets enough from me, but they're a good company. Any little issues, I can reach out to Larry, Alti, and they get it sorted out. So I don't mind shopping local once the price is decent. There's some things, though, because of the nature of what it is, that you're just not going to be able to compete with what you can get it for on Amazon. But let me be clear, let me be very, very clear. Amazon is not always the cheapest. You got to shop around. I tell you guys, I shop at the stores like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and whatever. And even stuff in their beauty section is often a fraction of the price compared to what you'll pay on Amazon. My little, body oils and stuff, I'm paying $7.99 US at TJ Maxx. On Amazon, it's $20. That's a significant difference. So, not for nothing. So consumers have to be smart, and you have to shop around. You have to make sure that you trust the people that you're purchasing product from as well. And there is a bit of a trust factor. It's not just, it is also a matter of knowing that you can trust people. One of the most disturbing things about this story that I must tell you, I really found quite concerning is how they lied. Now, you see, I'm a person like this. When somebody shows you their true colors, as we say, what class, y'all been paying attention long enough. What do we say in class? Jim, Cameron, y'all should know this. Evelyn, what do we say in class when somebody shows you the true colors? I'm going to let y'all answer that for me because y'all know the answer already. So apparently at some point during the initial transaction, when she was trying to purchase it, there were some Jamaican men who were trying to purchase something, and these guys refusing to accept the credit card from a credit or debit card from the Jamaican guys. Instead, they said, believe them the first time or let them show you who they are. That's right. So guess what? In that moment, they demonstrated how dishonest they are. They told the Jamaican guys that their card machine wasn't working, and so they could not take the card from them. But yet they were actually processing the card for this woman. So when they said, but wait a minute, you said the card machine isn't working, that's why you can't take her card, but you're using her card. Like you're taking, and they're like, no, we're not. Her card didn't go through either. And then they do like a little side wink to her. That would have been my cue right then and there to go, excuse me, refund me my money. I'm not even walking out your door with this product, because they have just demonstrated. That's a micro demonstration, but it's actually quite a big deal. This Manju, whatever the heck his name is, has just demonstrated that he is a dishonest person. You cannot be a dishonest person in retail and discriminating. I don't know why he was discriminating against the Jamaican guys. I don't know if it's because they're Jamaican, they're Black, whatever. The customer that he happens to have been dealing with is Indian, believe it or not. But, she's Caymanian Indian. So, but yeah, the fact that he did that's a prejudicial move. That's low key, like, what is going on here? You're discriminating against them. Why? Why wouldn't you take their card? If you have any questions about, if their card is legit, you ask for ID. There's verification, but you don't lie to them and tell them that the card machine isn't working. And at the same time, you're sitting there processing another customer. I wish those guys are listening to the program today, because y'all need to call in. Of course, now they're in denial mode that, oh, that's not what happened. Of course, that's what they did. Nobody lies about that sort of thing and makes that up. So I'm very, very disappointed to hear that that is what they did. But that was her, that should have been her cue right there to, you know what? Put that baby cam back, say, please return my money and my card, and walk out the door. When they show you who they are, let them and believe them the first time. Because the saga just continued on from there. Buyer beware, says Cameron. Forget the Latin term. The Latin term is caveat emptor. That's it. Buyer beware. Means you got to do your homework, honey child. Miss Emma, yes, indeed. It's a rainy day. The Lord is blessing y'all with showers out there. Please be careful, however. Don't end up in the bushes like you do even on a sunny day. Take your time. Enough car length. Slow down. Drive slowly. Although, now that we know that there's a charge of inconsiderate driving, apparently driving slow is one of the things you can do to be an inconsiderate driver. So there you go. Maybe not too slow. Okay, honey child. Yeah, so smart. What's the name of the company again? Smart Deals, Buy Smart, whatever the heck your names are. I got my eyes on you. They did reach out this morning and said that they wanted an opportunity to respond. And I said, okay, Kirks. Keep in mind now that the first thing we did when this person reached out is I said, okay, listen, I've been in retail, like I said, for over 10 years. And I know some of y'all customers ain't easy. And some of y'all can twist up stories and go on the fool and whatever. So I said, let me have a look and see then if we could do, okay. All right. So I said, let me see, if we can intervene in some way. And so we did reach out to them by WhatsApp and said, you've got a customer complaint. You want to handle it? They said yes. But their method of handling it still was not to this person's satisfaction. And so she tells the whole story as a bit of a cautionary tale. So for the purposes of full disclosure, they have reached out again after seeing their feature, saying that they're going to be back on the island on the 18th of September, which I won't be here. So you won't be reaching me, honey child. I'll be away from the 19th. But anywho, they said, they want to give their side of the story. I'm like, okay, we'll see. But anywho, let's move on then. This person says the Indian Asians here need to understand that they can't bring that discriminatory attitude here, like how they control Canada and other places. Asians here do not hire other nationalities, but expect Caymanians or non-Caymanians to hire them. We are noticing. There is a degree of culture, I think, that is involved here. They don't consider themselves like Black people, but they're brown people. To me, it's really semantics. And I don't even like really having discussions along color lines because people are so mixed, even if you think you're European, when you go do your little DNA test, you find out, oh gosh, I got that 20% African, whatever. And technically, if you have even one drop of African blood, you're considered African, honey child. So just because you look a particular way, you look European, whatever. But I must say that Indian people, Asian people, I don't want to necessarily say Indian per se, but Asian people, which includes Filipinos, all the Asian people, you're from Bangladesh, whatever, they tend to really stick culturally within their own culture, right? Okay, whatever. I mean, there are cases that are a bit of an anomaly. I told you guys my first boyfriend was actually from Sri Lanka, and he ended up, funny enough, marrying another Caribbean girl. I think she was from Trinidad or somewhere. The next girl he dated after me is who he got married to. Bless his little heart. He'll always be my first love. Poor thing. But it's unusual to see that sort of mixing. I will tell you the truth. Unless they grew up in the Caribbean. So unless they're like Marlon, he doesn't consider himself an Indian, although DNA wise, he's 100%. He's Jamaican. So all of him and his brothers, they've all married, Afro-Caribbean women. The other siblings from Jamaica and whatever. One brother, she's mixed with Chinese. So she also has Jamaican Chinese or whatever in her thing. But, they grew up in a very more culturally diverse. But it is shocking to know that Marlon's family, for example, would have been in Jamaica for at least 4 or 5 generations, at least. And up to him is still 100% Indian. That means that, once again, culturally, they were not mixing with anybody. They were all still marrying. His mom's Indian, married Indian people. So I think part of the explanation, especially in a country like Jamaica, is they have these sub-communities that they're very much a part of. So, they're still hanging out with Indian people of Indian descent. So when you look at all their last names, the, Gadaris, Gadir Singh, and this and that, and, they're still very much hanging out with each other, even when because some of them change their name along the way to try to fit in a little bit more. That's where you get like a name like Hill. Obviously, at some point, maybe not his father, but maybe it was the grandfather, the great-grandfather, somebody took a Indian name and changed it to Hill, because maybe they were on that side of so-and-so Hill in St. Catherine. And this is what they do to acclimate. They do try sometimes to acclimate within their communities, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't stand out as much. I've seen even Arab people come in and they'll pick like I remember when I was in university, this guy had this name, whatever. The language is very guttural. I cannot remember what his name was. And he was like, oh, just call me Al. I was like, how the hell do you get Al? Maybe there's an Al in there. Al bin ling down, dang, ting, ting, whatever. And that's Chinese, but you know what I mean? He was from United Arab Emirates. And his father was actually a priest or something, which was interesting. But anyway, he's like, oh, just call me Al. And everybody, he went out telling him, just call him Al. And I'm like, okay, that was the American version of his name. Right. So, they try to acclimate somewhat, but it's very, very difficult when you start talking about marriages and different types of integration. They're not quite as up for that. Most Filipinos here stick to themselves. And, I wouldn't say that they're like prejudiced. I mean, they're willing to accept you, but up to a point. I mean, most of them are like, I ain't gonna marry you because, my family expects me to marry a Filipino and we have a shared language and we have this and that and, same food. And so you can understand the hesitation to most of them just marrying you for your status. And then maybe they fall in love with you. I don't know. Because apparently you can learn to love someone. That was one of the lessons from my boyfriend, my first boyfriend. He always said that to me. You can learn to love someone. So even with your differences, you can make it work. Marjorie's asking, how come Marlon's last name is Hill? And well, I suspect, like what I just said, that's exactly what happened. Because they're actually Gadaris. They are, oh gosh, what's the other name? So they have other very traditional Indian names in the family. So when I think about what likely happened with the last name Hill, I'm pretty sure it's a situation where somebody just thought, oh, let's pick an easy name, easy to spell, easy to pronounce, whatever. And you can't get much easier than Hill. So I'm trying to remember who else. I think on his dad's side, the predominant name is Gadari. And then we have some people who from like Trinidad, they have Gadari Singh. They're all very, very like similar names and stuff like that. But yeah, Marlon's like 99.9999% Indian, my dear. Greg says Jamaican Indians typically do not intermarry or socialize extensively outside of their community. And I mean, I see it. And I think it's a lot of shared like food. And although for many generations now, they're Christians, they're not Muslim or anything else, right? So they are Christians. And so they share that with probably the rest of Jamaica. You know, they just, they kind of have stuck to themselves pretty much when it comes to marriages. Now, speaking from experience, I must say that I have not seen, I can't say that I have seen any indications, quite frankly, of his family. Like, they don't really relate. It's kind of weird, right? When you even talk to the older folks, they have certain remnants of their Indianness, you know? So yes, at weddings, you'll see them still come, some of them dressed in saris and stuff like that. More so the older ones. However, they don't really speak the language. They don't speak any other language other than English. They don't, they cook. That is the one place that you will see the Indianness in them still, is definitely in their cuisine. So they still do a lot of curries. They do it differently than, for example, a lot of, sorry, give me 1 second here. They do it differently than the traditional Jamaican curry. So, you know, Indian curry is different, and there are different types of Indian curry and stuff as well. So even the preparation of how they would do like a curry chicken, if they're doing it straight Indian style, is very, very different. And trust me, they actually burn the curry, as opposed to, I think, Jamaicans will just season the meat with the curry and whatever. They actually have a process where they burn the curry and then add the chicken and stuff. But, and their curry is a different kind of curry too. The heat on that is like, that'll put a hole in your stomach, yeah. Oh my gosh, literally. So yes, I agree that a lot of cultures still very much kind of stick together, even within the Caribbean, for example. We have some subgroups and stuff that tend to do that. You know, it's like the Caymanian whites. Y'all know them already. Not too many of them. It's very, very unusual. And I hate to say this, but it's so true. It's very unusual to see them marrying outside of a very particular, you know, it's like, okay, the Colonels will marry a Foster, but are they going to marry someone from, you know, just a regular Joe Schmo from up the street, brown girl? Not so much so. You see a few of them sprinkling here and there, the younger generation, but, you know, not really. Oh my gosh. I have a crush on one of the Fosters. I can't even tell you which one. This is, you know how you get like a celebrity crush? This is like, he's not a celebrity, obviously, but this is like my celebrity crush because he's so nice and has such a sweet personality. Looks department, okay, whatever, but just a really, really nice person. You know how you like someone just because they're so nice? But yeah, I can tell you, they're not likely to marry a brown skinned girl like me, honey chill. I'm just saying. All right. What is your English name, Sandra? Shaka says, scientifically speaking, East Indians are categorized as Caucasians, whilst American Indians are considered to be Mongoloid, Auntie Sandy. There are three races: Negroid, Mongoloid, and Caucasoid. So the Mongoloids are what we would call traditional, that's what we think of as Asians, or not really? So yeah, that's a lesson in genealogy for you though. But anyway, we know in this day and age, we consider them Asians. That's what we're gonna call them. Morning, Jasmine. She says, my husband is Jamaican and look at his name, Caballero. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd be surprised how names also came about and stuff as well. It's very, very fascinating, I must tell you. Greg says, back in the 1940s and 50s in Jamaica, Indians were encouraged to change their surnames. Some did, while others chose not to. my grandparents decided to keep theirs. Oh, what was their last name? Yes, and like I said, a lot of it was to just fit in. Like, they were seen as merchant class and stuff as well. And so sometimes that came with like them being targeted or being judged even, or, and sometimes they had a reputation even those days for not treating the average Jamaicans very, very nicely. I can tell you that my husband's family, they are considered probably merchant class because they've owned businesses forever, multiple generations in their little towns and stuff. But they're very, very, very well respected in their community because they never treated people like any differently like that. They were there's a lot of Jamaican Indians who are very prejudiced as well against Jamaican Black people. And so they have never, it's never even been a conversation like in his family. I mean, they're Jamaicans. They're not business too much with the Indian stuff. Like I said, other than food. So when they have family gatherings, you'll see the representation in the curry and the style and the way in which they cook the roti and all this kind of stuff. And to this day, don't ask me to make Marlon a roti because I can't. But boy, when his mama come, she's coming soon too, to relieve us so we can do her vacation. So the first night she comes, she'll make him some traditional, probably dal, roti, and something else that he never gets otherwise. So we'll have some nice roti and curry chicken. And I gotta be honest with you, Gigi is really into roti as well. She's like, oh, grandma's gonna make some roti. I'm like, I hear you there. So the pan, what's the pan? I had that pan and one of mine disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. What's the pan called that they put the roti on and then they flip it, that flat pan? I used to have one of those and I don't know where that pan gone. Actually, someone from Guyana had given me one that was like the real authentic heavy duty one. So, but yeah, she's kind of showed me, but child, I'm like, that's a lot of work. And honestly, he don't need to be eating all that bread anyway, because that's all it is, bread. Roti's bread, flour. So I'm like, yeah, he don't need to be eating that too often. So I'll go and get the one from the Indian. I was going to say, the only time I go to that Indian store is I've actually gone there to get roti. And then if they don't have the roti, then I get the naan bread because that's like the next best, closest thing. Good morning, caller. Oh, hold on. I can't. Hold on. You're not coming through the board. 1 second. Let me see if we can connect you. Uh-oh. Hello. Try again.
Hello?
Yes, now I can hear you. Good.
I said morning, not calling to get bashed, nor whatever, but calling to correct that Caballero surname. That's not a Jamaican surname. That's a Honduran. So whoever this person is must be that guy's father married to a Jamaican, because Caballero's a Spanish surname. I never hear that out of Jamaica yet. So whoever say that about their husbands are Caballero.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, this is the whole thing, right? I mean, events like Cara Festa should demonstrate and show us that our heritage is very, very mixed across the region and even across the world.
I know, but one thing, correcting, because I mostly know all the Jamaican surnames, and a Caballero is a Spanish name. So I don't think that person was a born Jamaican. And I mean, because like I say, whoever the person is, it must be a Spaniard married to a Jamaican that they carry in their father's surname, because Caballero is not a Jamaican surname.
Well, she probably knows a little bit more about where her husband's from than we do, so I'll let her speak to that. But the point is, you have. I'm
not calling to be bashed because you know how people are, but maybe she don't know, and maybe I'm right and she's wrong, because I know a lot of Caballeros from Honduras.
Yeah, but you could also be wrong and she could be right, because it might not be a lot of them in Jamaica, but there could be.
I'm to be corrected, but that's how I would thought.
But the point is, there are common surnames all over the world in different regions, and then there's also uncommon surnames. So her husband, who's a Caballero, could be multiple generations.
From Jamaica, born Jamaican, that is, you understand where we are coming from. So it's not by birth, by But I don't think that they were a Caballero from Caribbean. It's a Spanish surname.
All right. Thank you
Anyway,
so
you know how people is, they like to chat and they whatever.
Well,
like I said,
yes.
I'm to be corrected, and I'm not a person to bash him. Like I said, I'm not bashing, but I would just say maybe she don't know because she's saying that her husband is a Caballero and he's from Jamaica.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think.
But Cameron just pointed out that Jamaica has a Spanish history as well. So, you know, they could have come from Spain.
Well,
but leave us there. Leave us there.
Well, I know here. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, yes.
Cameron, he knows her thing too because he's the one but bashing me that day. So I about me, whatever.
Jamaica does have a Spanish.
I know his father's a Nicaraguan. I said the Cameron that I know by the surname Castillo. Castillo is not a Cayman surname. And if he's the person that I know, his father is Louis married to Julian or whatever. So I don't know. But these people.
All right, my dear, leave us there. Thank you very, very much. All right.
They like to bash people too much.
All right, darling.
And I'm not a person to bash because I would cut them out unless you cut me off.
All right, honey. Yeah. Bye-bye. All right. So whilst rare, some Spanish last names exist in Jamaica as a legacy of the Spanish occupation. The Spaniards occupied Jamaica from 1494 to 1655. So this is why, you know, we got to learn a thing or two. So they've got last names in Jamaica like Rodriguez, De La Vega, Mendez, and Castillo, apparently. All right. Some of them can be for more recent migration across the region, but there's lots of Spanish Caribbean names out in the mix, honey child. Good morning.
Good morning. I don't want to get on the Shalmabad side today, but I just want to clarify, just so that she and everybody knows, Jamaica also has a very rich history of Spanish culture.
Yes.
Jamaica was at one point, I think, just about 125, 150 years, also under Spain. And the four most prominent and dominant origins of people in the Jamaican culture. I mean, I'm a history buff. Are the Africans, who we know arrived there through the slave trade, the British, who we know arrived there through colonization, the Taino people, who also are, I would say, indigenous Indians, who also arrived there via the spice trade and the slave trade, and the Spanish people, who were also there via colonization. So I know a lot of the Mercados, Caballeros, the Los Reyes, they have a super.
Yep. Because even the Mercados, we have some of them in Cayman now, and they came by way of Jamaica.
Absolutely. And forgive me, I don't want to sound ignorant, because I have a friend who's Jamaican, and she says, "What do you mean doesn't look Jamaican?" I think when we think of Jamaica, we think of the Afro-Caribbean or just African.
But that's what is their motto called? Out of many?
Out of many, one people.
That's
exactly.
Right.
And with the diverse melting pot, just of those four dominant I don't even know what the correct word is, but those four dominant set of people that I've named there, like, they could legit come out to look and we also to look very different. And we also can't forget the Chinese. They came there as indentured laborers.
Servants, yes, basically slaves.
Yeah. So I'm just putting that out there.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So yes, I mean, there's a lot of diversity within the region, and I think that, you know, there's so much for us to learn. Somebody just mentioned that the last names, Michelle McGann. Yes, ma'am.
You heard what she just said. Arrived there. It was not born there. So arriving there and born in there is two different things. In my clarification, a lot of them arrive here too.
No. Step back, Michelle. You're getting yourself confused, and so I'm going to help you out here. Hold on. When she says arrive there, she's talking about the 1400s. Everybody arrived from somewhere. These countries were not, you weren't just born in Jamaica out of lizards. So everyone back in the day, along with the spice trades and the food trade and the slavery exchange of slaves, whatever, everybody arrived. At some point, there was nobody in the Cayman Islands. Everybody arrived here. And then you started having, obviously, multiple generations out of that and mixtures and whatever. So you have some Caymanians who want to talk about, they go back umpteenth number of years. At some point, even their people arrived as well. That's what she meant. Like everybody arrived at some point in time. She's not saying they just arrived the other day.
That Caymanians they never arrived from nowhere. They were from it. So I don't know.
They were from where? No. Everybody. All right. So I want you.
Arrived from.
I gotta give you. Just sit back and listen. This is a day now when it might be worth listening more, and paying attention, because everybody arrived from somewhere. I mean, there are very few people.
We arrived from God. We born from God.
No. The Cayman Islands was uninhabited. So the people that used to come by here were a lot of the what do you call them, pirates and all of them. So that's why we have a pirate history. And then we had people who Christopher Columbus, he came by. He did not want to stay here because there's really not much here, and it was considered a pretty rough island as things go. But eventually there were settlers who came here. Now, it might have been hundreds of years ago, but everybody came here from somewhere. So keep listening, though, because I'm going to talk about history as we continue.
Call me ignorant, but whoever called me ignorant.
Don't be insulted when people call you ignorant, because all of us are ignorant about certain things.
Everybody got their opinions. I'm not a fool. I got 5 good common senses.
Listen to me now, Michelle. The important thing is,
I can remember from the 1960s, 62 when I arrived, and I was 9 years old, and I'm 71 now. So they don't come calling me ignorant.
Listen to me, Michelle. It's not being called.
That was too common when it was sharing wrong. I mightn't be went to no college, but I went to school. I can read and write Spanish and English, and I'm not a stupid idiot.
Leave me there. Not a problem. Thank you, my dear. Got another call coming in. So this is what I wanted to say, folks. Being called ignorant is not something that is an insult, because we're all ignorant to different things. Nobody knows everything. It really is a question of whether or not you're willing to learn. Because we don't all know something. So yes, she said everyone is entitled to their own opinion. We say that all the time. Of course you are. Just like everybody got a bonky hole, everybody has an opinion. What you're not entitled to are your own facts. So facts are a very different situation. So this person says, I can't say that about Jamaican Indians and Chinese sticking to themselves. I had to beat them off with a stick and fight against marriage proposals. Girl, you must support it. This is why I do not understand racism in the Caribbean. And it is non-Caribbeans bringing this nonsense. However, we are very classist. They're also racist, but classism comes first, I will say, with Caribbean people, generally speaking. This person says, tell Michelle that lots of Panamanians in the early 1900s moved to Jamaica and married Jamaicans and never left. Spanish Town was the capital of Jamaica and was owned by the Spaniards before shifting to Kingston. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Sandra. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm all right. I 100% agree with you when you spoke about ignorance just now. Ignorance is not really a problem unless you refuse to listen when people are trying to clarify any given situation for you.
Right.
That goes beyond ignorance. Anyway, listen, look, first of all, when it comes to the history of the Cayman Islands, you are correct. The Arawak people never inhabited these 3 hair rocks in the Caribbean Sea. My professor of Caribbean history, when I had the opportunity and the privilege of going to college in the States, taught me that to the Arawak people, these 3 islands were where they thought their spirits went to when they passed away. And I surmise, I hypothesize that is probably the reason why they never had any permanent settlements here. That's the reason there has never been any pottery or any archaeological evidence, save for the discovery of one singular Arawak arrowhead, which was not highly publicized, but it was found years and years and years ago now here in the Cayman Islands. That is the history of the Cayman Islands. In that way, the Cayman Islands have been given something that the rest of the Caribbean, and by extension, the rest of the populated New World did not have, which was that the Cayman Islands have the lack of that stain of original injustice, which is the removal of, the genocide of, the enslavement of indigenous and native population. And we are all here in the Cayman Islands, people who have come. It was a truly uninhabited island. You could have conjecture and say that the Arawak peoples came here for ritual purposes. There was a presence of Trichilia habanensis, which was one of the favored trees and groves of trees for the Arawaks in Cuba to live under and around, which occurs in 3 parts of Cayman, which is down by Tropical Gardens, down where I grew up, down off of South Church Street. And there's also a large stand, or at least there was, in West Bay. And that was a very holy tree to the Arawak people. You could hypothesize that maybe they actually brought the tree here in reverence for their departed. Now, when it comes to Jamaica, Jamaica was first colonized by the Spanish. And this is, Sandra, why I would love to see Cayman start to teach its youth and everybody else history. If anybody wants to learn about it, then, you know, the book, The Iron Thorn, the story of the Jamaican Maroon, the African peoples, who in the throes of the first Spanish-English War, when the Spanish superpower were trying to defend the island of Jamaica against the aggression of the British superpower at that time, it was in that conflict that the African slaves took their chance when they saw all the fighting going on to run for the hills. That's where the Jamaica Maroons originate from. Was they took that opportunity in that conflict to run for the hills, and they gained their freedom. You know, but the Spanish influence in Jamaica long predates the British. Long predates the British, and the very much wonderful and highly respected lady who spoke before. I would like to say this to your mom if you're listening. If you seek out and read the book by Mr. Critchlow, which is the history of the Cayman Islands, it speaks directly to the British Crown asking Caymanians to leave Cayman and pioneer and go to what was then British Honduras, go to Nicaragua. That's why you see so many of our Caymanian bloodline in Blue Fields, for instance. Now, in the Second Spanish-English War, the British gave up those areas back to the Spanish, and they left the Caymanian pioneers in the Bay Islands to fend for themselves. And that is a sordid history. And that is a serious betrayal that occurred at the hands of the British upon the Cayman Islands people. In the book itself, there are letters begging for protection that they had been promised. My own great-great-grandparents went to Blue Fields and eventually came back to Cayman. You know, that is the direction of travel that it happened. I can't speak specifically to the last name Caballero, but it stands to figure that the Caballero last name could well and should well have its presence known for centuries on the island of Jamaica, not the other way around, because the migration went from the original British Jamaican presence in Jamaica across to Central America, not the other way around. So I'd just like that clarification to be made from the historical perspective. And I'd also like to take this opportunity. If there's anybody in the Cayman Islands who are powers that be, start teaching our children history, the real history, not this candy-coated crap or lack of anything, period, and start educating our children, even the stuff that might not be along the lines of the British propaganda methodology and narrative and dogma. Speak the real, honest to God truth. The history. If we do not learn from history, we are destined to repeat it. And as I look around and as I watch even this show this morning, I see that history being repeated again. And it does not need to be so. It starts with alleviating ignorance from our people. And it starts by giving children access to a real education in the real facts of history and allowing them to decipher the truth, not by preaching and propagandizing, which is what we have here in Cayman.
Absolutely.
And it needs to change for the well-being of all of our people. God bless the Cayman.
Thank you so much. Morning. Cameron says, go get him, little Billy. Jonathan Adam in the house. Get him, little Billy. Yes, I mean, it is what it is, folks. We're all here to learn, honey child. You got to be willing to learn. George Fullerton says, even the Arawaks and Tainos in Jamaica arrived from somewhere. I mean, at some point, this was all barren land, honey Jill. Let me see here. Marshall says, just because you have a Jamaican, Spanish last name, my apologies, doesn't mean you can't come from Jamaica or any other Caribbean country. The caller needs to listen more and talk less. Inspiring, something all Caymanians do, says the correct word is Hondurans, not Honduranians. Why do Caymanians say Honduranians? That is something that historically we do. When you're right, the correct term is Hondurans, but we want to add our own little Caymanian way of saying it, and we say it as Honduranians. I'm Honduranians. Try it. Another person says Henriquez, Rodriguez, Lopez, Ventura are all common surnames in Jamaica. Shaka says, thanks for clarifying, Auntie Sandy. Most people are so confused with the term ignorant. They need that clarification. Yes, listen, ignorant is not a bad word. I guess it's only bad if you refuse and you stay in your ignorance. Ignorance just it means that you don't know something. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing, but you have to be willing to listen. That's why they say God gave us what? 2 ears and 1 mouth. So we should be listening twice as much as we talk. Unless you're in a talking business like me. Irvlin says, thank you, caller. Read, says Irvlin. You can learn a thing or two. Amen, caller, says Shaka. Kaboom to that caller. Kaboom! Says Jim. Ms. Dorothy says, I was privileged to learn a lot of Indian dishes. My grandfather was a very interesting man. Thanks to him, I didn't need any chemicals in my hair. He was teaching how to get the straight look naturally, huh? Magdalene says, everybody arrived from somewhere. Yes, I mean, very few people are indigenous in the true sense of the word. You know? In America, it's a little bit different. They had the indigenous Indians that were there definitely thousands of years before, but even the indigenous Indians came from somewhere. Cameron says, Jonathan, giving it to Anna. Good morning, Miss Maggie. Happy anniversary. She has celebrated her 9th anniversary. She says, glad I'm listening as I'm learning wonderful history. Melita says, loving. There you are, Melita. Somebody was asking for you earlier saying, where's Melita? Melita says, I'm loving the history class this morning. Shaka says the Mongoloids traveled from Asian continent over to the Americas. So everybody's from somewhere, honey child. There was migration. That's why when people now try to state claim, like, you know, Americans like Trump and those people want to claim that that's their country. It was like, pump the brakes. Y'all only been here recently, last couple hundred years. The last couple hundred years is nothing compared to thousands of people who were there for thousands of years before you. And you came and stole their land and took everything from them. You hardly have any room to talk about immigration and migration issues, because hello. So lots of Spanish names in Jamaica. There's a whole list of them. You can go look them up. Everything from like Malave, Marcano, Sanchez, but oftentimes spelled with an S instead of a C. Sanchez, yeah. Taveras, most of those came from the Dominican Republic. So yes, there's a lot of migration. There's Spanish, Portuguese, all over in countries like Jamaica. They have a very, very strong mixture of, you know, like they said, their motto is out of many, one people, because that is literally their background. So again, the Spanish occupation of Jamaica was from 1494 to 1655, before the English even took control. And of course, you had Spanish colonists, soldiers, and settlers who established towns and left their mark on the island's geography and place names, as well as they would have, you know, potentially married and interrelations with a lot of the people that they found there when they got there. So a lot of their names, although they were small, they were considered, the Spanish populations were considered relatively small, and a lot of them either left or were expelled after the English conquests. Most of the surnames persisted due to conversions, intermarriages, and legacy naming as well. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. How you doing?
How's the knee?
It's coming along. I'm sitting here now just swinging it a little bit gently because, yeah, getting the motion, the full motion back, you know. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got to get it ready for vacation in September.
Not. I don't want to detract from the main conversation, but I keep hearing this word mongoloid.
Yes.
And I know it didn't come from you. You were quoting from somebody else.
Uh-huh.
That word is a bit of a loaded word.
Mm.
Simply because it's rooted in like very racist pseudoscience from the 18th, 19th centuries in Europe. And there are a lot of associated stereotypes with that word. And then many times it was used in a disability context. So, for example, people who were born with Down syndrome, they used to call them mongoloid because, you know, they sort of have those features, right? Like the slanted eyes and stuff, right? So I think we need to get away from this term of race. I mean, while racism does exist, there really is no such thing as race. There's nothing in biology. There's nothing that there are differences. I'd be blind not to tell you that there aren't differences amongst different groups of people, but there's really no such thing as race. Yeah. So
it's a human construct, isn't it? We've made it up for a social construct. My apologies. Yes, and we have made it up to. I mean, let's be honest. It's kind of like religion. We've made these things up to kind of divide each other along certain lines. And I know that's a hot button topic, and y'all might get upset this morning. But what separates us? How we look and the things that we believe. And so we amplify those things more than we need to.
Yeah, I think a better term to use would be ethnic group, because ethnic group is a bit more inclusive of color, you know, culture, religion, that sort of thing, language, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I just want to put it out there for whoever's listening that there is no such thing as race. It does not exist. There are ethnic groups. There's genetic diversity within different ethnic groups. If you take the average person from East Africa and line them up with somebody from West Africa and North Africa, South Africa, and Central, you would see a world of difference amongst them, and you could think about any broad group of people. So Anyway. Don't want to take away from the conversation.
No, I totally get it. And this is why really it comes back to this singular point. As much as we talk about groups of people and sometimes how groups of people take on certain characteristics, whether it's physical or even behavioral and cultural, we need to be prepared to judge people based on their individuality, right? And I know it's hard because, you know, human nature, it's easier to clump people together and be like, oh, all those Filipinos are one way, all Jamaicans are one way, all this, all that. And normally you get no further ahead when you think that particular way because it's just divisive. And so in an effort to bring people together in a more meaningful way, I say judge people based on who they are, what they bring to the table individually, because people will certainly show you who they are. Thank you so much, caller.
Thank you.
Really, really appreciate it. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of conversations today. The Spanish colonization of Santiago, my apologies, aka Jamaica, started in 1508. That was the first settlers that they arrived there. The Spaniards first settled on the northern coast of Jamaica, which is now known as the parish of St. Anne. And there they built a town called Sevilla Nueva, or New Seville. And afterwards they moved to the southern part of the island and built a town of St. Jago de la Vega, which is now called Spanish Town. The island was given to the Columbus family as a personal estate in 1540. Can you imagine? The whole island? But they did nothing to develop it. And the Spanish colony in Jamaica was never a very large or very flourishing one. So there are a number of remnants still of Spanish cities and towns in Jamaica. And reminders of this historical period you can find in the names of different places in Jamaica, such as Ocho Rios, Rio Bueno, Santa Cruz, Santa Cobre, Port Antonio, all importantly, and most importantly, Spanish Town, formerly known as St. Jago de la Vega, I think is how it's pronounced properly, which was the capital under the Spanish. And they have a lot of people that are, have a Spanish connection still. Frank Silvera, which is Jamaican African actor and director. You have Gail Vas Oxlade, which is a Jamaican Canadian financial writer and television personality. You have a Ken Kuri, who's a Jamaican record producer. Lady Colin Campbell, she's a Jamaican radio host, author, and socialite. And you have a journalist by the name of Wilfred Adolphus Domingo. And the colony of Santiago was what Jamaica apparently used to be called. There you go. So a little bit of history there for you, folks. So Santiago was a Spanish territory of the Spanish West Indies and within the Viceroyalty of New Spain and in the Caribbean. Its location is present-day island and nation of Jamaica. So strong. Listen, they actually had a Spanish name. So you have strong influences there, despite the fact that they didn't really do a whole lot with the island. So a little bit of history here is around 650 AD, Jamaica was discovered by the people of the Austinoid culture, who likely came from South America. For example, Alligator Pond in Manchester Parish and Little River in St. Anne Parish are among the earliest known sites of the Austinoid people who lived near the coast and were extensively hunted turtles and fish. And then around 950 AD, the people of the Mayacan culture settled on both the coast and interior Jamaica, either absorbing the Austinoid people or cohabiting the island with them. So again, this demonstrates 650 AD. They can talk about the first people who discovered Jamaica and started to inhabit it. Everybody came from somewhere. That's today's lesson. So I know y'all, they're from there. They were born there. That's Johnny come latelys, honey child. Everybody came from somewhere, including Caymanians. George says Savlamar is a Savannah. Is it Savlamar or Savannah? Savlamar, right? Another example of that as well. Yeah, I feel like we're in Spanish class today for sure. So then around 1950, they had another group come in into the interior. And then after that, around 1200 AD, y'all talking about the Taino people, the Arawak Taino culture developed on Jamaica around 1200 AD. So they're not even anywhere near the first settlers. They were 650 AD, 950 AD, and then how many years between 950 and 1200? That is when you have the Taínos and Arawak then coming in. And they're a group of indigenous people of northern South America and the Caribbean. The term Arawak, give me 1 second here, scratch my back, has been applied at various times to different indigenous groups, from the Locono of South America to the Taíno who lived in the Greater Antilles and northern, hold on 1 second. Anyway, listen, there's a whole thing here about the indigenous people of Jamaica. So they came around 1200. They were brought from South America, a system of raising yucca known as Kanoko to add nutrients to the soil. The Taíno burnt local bushes and trees and heaped the ash into large mounds, into which they then planted yucca cuttings. Most Taínos lived in large circular buildings called bohíos, constructed of wooden poles, wooden straw, and palm leaves. And the Taínos spoke an Arawakan language and did not have writing. So they were not people that wrote. Some words used by them, such as barbacao, barbecue, hamaca, hammock, canoa, canoe, tobacco, which is now tobacco, yuca, batata, which is sweet potato, and huracan, which is hurricane, have been incorporated into both Spanish and English language. And then you had the next wave of discovery with Christopher Columbus setting sail on his second voyage to the Americas back in September 24th of 1493. And then November the 3rd of 1493, he landed on an island that he named Dominica. On November 22nd, he landed on Hispaniola and spent some time there exploring the interior of the island for gold. They were always looking for something, child. They weren't there to help anybody else. He left Hispaniola on April of 1494, April 24th, and arrived on the island of Juana, which is now Cuba, on April the 30th, and Jamaica. By the indigenous, it was called at that time, I don't know how they would pronounce this, Xaymaca, by the indigenous Taínos, meaning land of springs. So when he got there, that was the name. Very close to the name now, though, very close to Jamaica. So Columbus named the island Santiago and used it as a mini state for his family. Mess with him. He explored the south coast of Juana before returning to Hispaniola on August the 20th. After staying for a time on the western end, present-day Haiti, he finally returned to Spain. Columbus returned to Jamaica during his fourth voyage to the Americas. He'd been sailing around the Caribbean nearly a year when a storm beached his ships in St. Anne's Bay, and that was June 25th of 1503. For a year, Columbus and his men remained stranded on Jamaica. A Spaniard, Diego Mendez, and some natives paddled a canoe to get help from Hispaniola. The island's governor, Nicolas de Ovando y Cacaceres, detested Columbus, go figure, and obstructed all efforts to rescue him and his men. In the meantime, Columbus allegedly mesmerized the natives by correctly predicting a lunar eclipse on February the 29th, 1504, using the ephemeris of the German astronomer, what's his name? Regiomontanus. He's got a long name. Johannes Muller von, better known as Regiomontanus, was a mathematician, astronomer, and astrologer of the German Renaissance. Yes, sir. So anyway, when you knew things like lunar eclipses, because back then the poor people thought that was something from the gods, and it was like, oh, God just made the earth get covered, or the moon, or whatever. So if you predicted something like that, you'd be next to God, honey chill. Help finally arrived from the governor on June the 29th, 1504, and Columbus and his men arrived in Sanlúcar de Barrameda, Castile. That's in Spain somewhere, I'm assuming. Southern Spain, yes. Okay. On November 7th, 1504. In 1505, Juan de Gomez, Duke of Medina, Sidonia, in an agreement with Columbus, proposed a project to populate the island, but King Ferdinand turned it down. So there's a whole history. I mean, there's so much more to this about the etymology. Tahino referred to the island of, I think it's called Aximaca, but the Spanish gradually changed the name to Jamaica. In the so-called Admiral's Map of 1507, the island was labeled of Jamaquai, Jamai Qa. And in Peter Martyr's first tract from the Decades of the New World, published in 1511 to 1522, he refers to it as both Jamaica and Jamaica. So one is without the A and one has it. So Jamaica has a very, very long and extensive history. Cayman has a shorter history, but definitely worth knowing your history, folks. Tartarian says, how can a person be Canadian, sorry. One cannot serve two masters. Make up your minds, people. What a hot mess. Shaka says, to support your point, Auntie Sandy, there's a reason the Americas were called the New World. Everybody came from somewhere else and populated the New World. Right. Tartarian says, do you know about the German shipwreck where some survivors went to Cayman and the others went to Jamaica? Not specifically, but would not be surprised. Speaking of history, let's talk a little bit about family history. Some of you may have seen, I posted this. I'm trying to get the whole clip, which includes page 2 of my grandfather's, on my mother's side, obituary. So a family member sent this to me and said, your aunt wanted you to have this, which would be one of his children. And I was very, very thankful for it because I got to share this. And, you know, people always say to me that I have an unusual entrepreneurial spirit about me. Like I'm always looking at things from a business perspective. Like this is business. How can we, you know, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but maybe there's something in the genes, as my Aunt Adonia always says. So this is my grandfather. I want to say he passed away. I need to get the exact date because it was probably around 1977 or 78. Let me ask my aunt. Let me see. It was, I don't remember him at all, actually. So I would have only been, I was born 73. So he might have passed away 78 or 79. I'm going to find out. So I want to get the clipping with the full date and everything. So let me just see here now. Yeah, so this reads, Charlie Barnes dies at age 77. Dies at 67, a pioneer. So Charles Alexander Barnes, pictured, 67, passed away at his Georgetown home early yesterday morning. Best known simply as Charlie Barnes. My apologies. Let me just pull this up here. Yes, best known simply as Charlie Barnes, the deceased was a Cayman pioneer in many respects. In 1943, he introduced the first passenger bus to Grand Cayman. He also owned the first bakery and brought in the first pool table, the latter of which he set up in the first recreation hall he established on the island. I think the recreation hall was a nice way back then of saying bar, recreation, because, you know, I guess they'd go there and recreate. I don't know. But he actually had, yes, he actually had the first liquor license with Buttonwood Club. Mm-hmm. That's why my Uncle Raymond did not want to change the name from Buttonwood Club. So born in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica on the 8th of September, 1911, He left home for Spanish Honduras at age of 16 and came to the Cayman Islands at the age of 21. That was back in 1937. And the following year, he married. And unfortunately, I need to get page 2 of this. So there was a part then after that was after they had his service. So it said, last Sunday, hundreds turned out at Elmsley Memorial Church. And apparently that's been our church, our family church forever. I've actually never been to Elmsley for like a proper service. I went there when they celebrated their 100th year because my uncles grew up in the church being the bell ringers and stuff. Like, we were, our family history is embedded in that church. That's, I got to give you a little joke because, that's the church that's affiliated with Cayman Prep. So I'm shocked to find out that a family that has such strong historical connections to Cayman Prep from the church side doesn't even get any special consideration. Child, when you're not from a certain side of the track, forget about it. But anywho, good for them. So it says here that last Sunday, hundreds turned out at Elmsley Memorial Church to pay final respects to the late Charlie Barnes. Oh, they had a little typo there. Back in them days when they made a typo, they couldn't fix it, once it went to print. We call him Charlie Barnes in life, and so consider it no disrespect, thus to refer to him in death. He was kind. I think this was like his, what would you call this? This was what you'd read at the funeral. That's the obituary, right? Yeah. So you had the funeral announcement, and then this is the obituary. He was kind of man, no thrills or fuss. He never stood on ceremony. Charlie's Buttonwood Club over the years had become a virtual recreation center for the Georgetown youngsters with their hands, and for the olders who took pride in demonstrating to the others that the years had not deprived them of the ability to take a king on a checkerboard in 3 quick moves. Yes, sir. Plan the success of a domino game. And my uncles were all big domino players and champs, actually. But plan the success of a domino game from that very first play, or run every single ball off the pool table before their partner even got a chance to chalk his cue stick. For Charlie, the Buttonwood was a business, but it was also healthy contribution to those in the community who might otherwise spend their time in activities less appealing to the mind and more conducive to trouble. With Charlie's passing, the absence of a real official community center in Georgetown becomes emphasized. Imagine that. Wow. Especially in the case of the younger males, many of them unemployed, meeting venues such as the storied Tamarind Tree have held such dubious attraction, mostly because meaningly alternatives were hard to find. So y'all think you got problems now. Apparently it was always an issue from way back when. Kids claiming they had nothing to do. This condition, existing as it were against the glare of the colony's financial triumphs and the glitter of its tremendous tourism strides, stands out like a parroting cabaret out of step. It is an anomaly which cries out to be corrected. It is one which can spawn a cesspool of social maladjustment if left unchecked. My God, all of this connected to my dear uncle, like the conversations, right? Because he had the only recreational center, as they called it back then. In his quiet way, Charlie Barnes set the stage for this kind of correction. He was a modest attempt, existing as it were on the fringes of his business, but that attempt, now his legacy, is one the leaders of the community may feel some pride in emulating. So I was talking to another cousin And she said to me that what a lot of people did not know as well is he was a very principled man. So a lot of times he refused to even sell alcohol to certain people who he knew, were suffering from substance abuse issues. And yeah, so he left Jamaica at a very, very young age. This is my cousin said, I love that part where the bar was a place it was called Rec Center back then, for wayward youth to hang out. And her dad said that he never sold liquor to drunk people and would cut them off. And they went on to say that it upsets me that so many have wasted, so many of his grandchildren and great-grandchildren drink and do shit and attribute it to them being at Barnes. The man was a quiet man who was on about his business. And so, many have since sullied the Barnes name. And he was very, very smart as a businessman. Barnes Drive, all that property down in there. He bought a lot of property. He owned a lot of property. Buttonwood, right next to UBS or whatever it's called these days. All of that is family land. And, it really, family had land in South Sound, some of her parents and stuff, and they just sold it. Greed, honey child. Greed and ignorance made them sell the land, not even realizing what they had. They had no clue. Now you'd kill for a little piece of South Sound land, right? But there you have it. Caymanians who knew no better were selling and letting go land for pittance, for little or nothing. So I want to get the page 2 of this, and I'll most certainly share it with you all. But I attribute my my business acumen a little bit to definitely this genetic component of having a grandfather who was a businessman himself and did a lot of firsts in Cayman. And I can tell you one thing, if he was born on the other side of the tracks in Cayman, right skin color and right name, he would be probably a national hero today for a lot of the first things that he did. First buses, first everything. And somebody mentioned in the comment section, Facebook, which I didn't know this. I'm so glad that I actually posted it, that he went to Honduras, and that makes sense because on my DNA profile, I see Honduras showing up, that we have connections to Honduras. I see the Bay Islands, which is Honduras, basically, in Belize, also showing up as well. So he traveled extensively. He was a chef also, so maybe that's where we get a little bit of our love for cooking and love for culinary, all things culinary. But someone made mention of the fact that he actually brought the first, what would you call it? Buses here by way of Panama, because he was actually doing that in Panama when he's in Panama as well. And big shout out to Derek Hunter. Derek said we opened Foster's Airport together. So I'd love to hear more about that journey. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Sandy.
Morning, dear. How are you doing?
Oh, well, I'm thankful.
Good.
Nice. Talking about your grandfather, Mr. Charles Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
My first memory of Mr. Charles Barnes, where he was a barber.
Right.
I don't know if people mention that.
Mm-hmm.
And in that barber shop, was where, you see the 4th Street stoplight? The building there, the dartboard, it was Westland Building. I forget what it's called now. The building was on that site. It was a big wooden building. And I can remember the little boy, when I say little boy, probably 4 years old, 5 years old. The first memory I can have is that I saw pool balls roll out of his shop onto the road. I mean, of course, it was anything that Mr. Charles Barnes used to come here, there, used to do here, and he had a pool table in there, so he must have bought that first pool table by then. That might have been where the first one. I don't know. Like I said, it was like about 4 or 5 years old. I can remember him being on that. And I mean, I knew him all through my life. Then sometimes. But who probably can tell you a little bit more about that shop and so forth is George.
Which George is that? Mr. George Gillette?
George Gillette.
Okay.
George Gillette lived right down the road there past the town clock down on the end of 4th Street. Right there. So I'm sure he would have passed Mr. Charles Brown's shop a whole heap more times probably than I did, coming from down north. As I was staying down by way of the new Chinese restaurant is, the new Japanese restaurant is on that side of the world. I remember him, his buses and everything. In fact, I went to school with Uncle Rene. I mean, Rene's older than me. But I went to school with George too. And George is about, I think George, that's not 2 days ago. He's 4 years older than me. And I know Rene must be getting up there. But as far as I can remember, I went to school. I was the only one in the children that I went to school with. But I knew the rest of his, but not as good as probably I know Rene and George and so forth.
Well, thank
George,
you.
George, I know George always listens to the program unless he got a doctor's appointment or something.
Yes.
Probably chip in and tell you a few things more about that particular building, but I remember that. I don't know if that was the first place that he started doing his barbering and had his pool table or not, but that was the first place that I know about him having, you know, in my time. And, you know, I'm 71. I don't know what I am, but that's why I was about 6 years ago, maybe, or so.
Yeah.
I'm before you came along.
Oh yeah.
a little bit before you came along.
A little bit before, yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
The pleasure, gentlemen.
Yes, thank you so much.
And then he built one little shop up there where I think one of the aunts had a store in it, and then he didn't build out but the wood club all one time. Your uncles and them know the story, but he built that. I think he had a barber shop, and that was the first thing he built, and then he kept expanding. You know, he was quite an entrepreneur. Yeah, I can see exactly where you get your entrepreneur spirit from.
Yeah,
that's no wonder.
Yeah, it made me truly reflect on that as well, because you know, he was definitely always thinking of things and ways in which to innovate. Up to today, the bus service, which Uncle Rene still has, because you know most of the uncles have passed away. That's a direct you know, legacy of his own father doing that and bringing the buses to Cayman. So yeah,
definitely. And Rene doing a good job with it, I tell you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that.
I got to call you off the air about the cameras. But anyway, that's another story.
All right, darling, no problem.
Okay then.
Okay, good. So yes, thank you so much for sharing your memories of him. I don't really remember him because, like I said, when he passed away, I'm going to get the exact year. I think it was either 78 or 79. I would have been so young that I don't have any recollections of him whatsoever. And so even this little snippet, I was so happy to see, because this really brought back, you know, allowed me to see and learn a little bit about him and see that at least he was acknowledged in his passing there in the comment section. So yes, but everyone said that he was a very humble and kind man, and I think that is so important. Because really that's the ultimate legacy that you leave behind, right? So you can leave behind all of this other stuff, and none of it will be meaningful if you were not a good person at the end of the day. So big shout out to Charles Alexander Barnes. So here's a picture of him and his Macfield wife. Most of you would have known her, of course, as Orma Barnes. So I saw cousin in here earlier. Where is he? Where is my cousin? Jason. Where's Jason? I saw something from Jason earlier. Let me see. So, Jason says a lot of us in Cayman have Jamaican roots. Big up my great granddad, Charles Barnes, hardworking legend. Marguerite Miller says a eulogy is read at the funerals. Right. Morning, Miss Alba. Jason says the Barnes and might feel my bloodline, not ashamed of it because we came from greatness. Jim says he sounds like an accomplished and humble man. Indeed, he was. And there's a picture, one of the few pictures actually that I know of him, but there he is. This was back in the day when people had pride in how they dressed and how they carried themselves. And so, yep, there he is. So I would love anybody who has any more information on him as we talk about, our history as a collective group. We also need to explore as many of our stories individually. And that's one of the reasons why I do Cayman Voices, because to hear these stories, and there's so many people that are on my bucket list for Cayman Voices. And please, if you have a elder in your family, this is a fantastic way for their legacy for your family, really, but not more importantly, but equally as important as a country, for us to capture these voices of our Caymanian people. So if there's 60 plus, by all means, please reach out to me before they start to lose their memories or they have health issues and they can, my apologies, no longer speak and stuff like that. These are just amazing stories. And so I've done so many already. I have the one with Miss Virginia Bodden. We're actually going to play that this week. Maybe I'll do that on Friday. I'm not here Thursday and Friday, but maybe I'll do that in Wednesday's show. I've done her husband, Mr. Norman. I've done a little mini interview with Dick Arch, but I still want to do him in a full interview. But, when they become a particular age, unfortunately, they have days when they're not feeling well and stuff like that. But anyone in your family, it doesn't matter what you think or not think of their accomplishments. Call me, because as the slogan for the show says, their individual stories is our collective history. And so I want to hear more of these stories because it's just so fascinating. I remember when I did Don Seymour's mom. Oh my God, I could do a part 2 on her. She did, especially as a woman, so many amazing things in her lifestyle. And women were raising families sometimes by themselves, or they had a husband that wasn't really much help, so they were entrepreneurs. They were, working very, very hard, still raising kids, still doing amazing things within their families. And those are the stories, folks, that we really need to hear more about. All right. So someone says that, good morning, TD. How's the knee coming along? Not too bad. Twirling it around every once in a while. They said Mr. Barnes was a strict man. I'm sure. But a good man nonetheless. All right, so reach out to me if you'd like your loved ones to be featured, or anybody really, to be featured in Cayman Voices, because one day all of those people will no longer be here with us, and we need to really capture their stories. All right, so on tomorrow's show, we got some good news coming out of Cayman Brac. Parliament, they're returning today. They were still overseas. This coalition government, actually, Miss Elita Soto. Who is she, Miss Romelia? I don't know who she is, I don't think. Who's Miss Elita Soto? Who's she? I have no clue who she is. And I can't, the other thing is, I normally have to coordinate these things through a family member. So I have to reach out to family, and obviously, because they're seniors and they have caregivers, and, so we have to kind of coordinate it around their scheduling and how they're feeling and that sort of thing. But if you send me some details on who in her family would be most appropriate to reach out to, that would be fantastic. So, yes, so let me know about that. And so I want to talk about on tomorrow's show, Cabinet having had a very successful trip to Cayman Brac. They held the first ever Cabinet meeting there, which was phenomenal. And they actually were able to, Bob Soto's first wife, she's still sharp as a tack, Jim Bodden's sister. Oh, okay. No, sorry, no more phone calls, but because I'm trying to wrap up things now. Okay, well, I need to reach out. Need to definitely reach out to her. So send me some information on the family. So yes, those kids on the bus couldn't fight or make noise. He was a good man. We need more of him. Yes, child. I reckon those children were under manners. All right. So, wonderful. Thank you so much. So yes, thank you for the recommendation. If anybody has information on how to reach out to her, I would love to definitely get that. And big shout out to our listeners as well here on the program. I saw a lady earlier said she was tuned in from Jamaica. I'm listening to the program. We've got Miss Moran Williams says, good morning, Sandy. I'm watching with you guys from New Jersey. You all have a great day. Oh, thank you so much. That's beautiful. Let me just see. Trying to not miss as many messages if I can. But yeah, tomorrow we'll talk about the acquisition of the land surrounding the lighthouse there on Cayman Brac. Johan was here this morning. Hey, I don't know what he was referring to. That's him being a troublemaker again. Says, Ashley, not Ashley, 345 says, we all started from Africa. Even blonde hair, blue-eyed people have African DNA. Speaking of blonde hair, blue-eyed, just as a little aside, I was telling you guys, now it's been over a week. Thursday was a week that I had my knee surgery. Things are coming along pretty good. I went to physio on Friday, and he saw an improvement even since Wednesday to Friday. So I'm going to try to squeeze in a few more appointments this week as well. Oh, yes, it was Linda Maduri, who is, she says, hi from Jamaica. My name is Maduri. So she's here listening as well. Thank you so much, Miss Linda. And so, yeah, the knee is coming along. I'm still using the crutches, but I can walk shorter distances without them now. I think by hopefully, not tomorrow, but hopefully by Thursday when I'm traveling, I will be able to walk without them. So yeah. That's Renee's mom. Oh my gosh. Thank you for listen here now. I came this close to interviewing her the other day when she was visiting because cousin Shirley Ralston, she was going to arrange it for us, but child, she was so busy when she was here that I missed her. Oh my gosh. Yes, because that's Shirley's aunt, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to reach out to Renee. Thank you for that. Because I wonder if I couldn't interview her on a trip to Miami. Yeah, she's always back and forth. That's right. That is right. Okay, sorry, I didn't make the connection. She was actually Bob Soto's first wife. So, of course, so that's who Renee's for. Duh, last name Soto. Didn't make that connection at all. Oh my God. All right, I have Renee's number. And I'm always in Miami. So, that's easy, right? So I don't know when she's coming, Cayman again, but maybe the next time I go to Miami, we can sit down and have tea together. And I can hear a lot about her story. Oh, thank you so much, Miss Romelia, for that. And she was the Honorable Jim Boden's sister. Okay. Cayman is such a small place. Trust me. Jim says, I'm sorry that none of the elder Pantons are left on island. They offered some amazing stories of Cayman days gone by. Love listening to them speak about the island and its people back in the day, about how times have changed. In fact, that reminds me of somebody else that I would love to do a Cayman Voices with. I'm going to send her son right now a message as well. Marjorie says, I like when Cabinet meets here and we can watch some TV. Charles Clifford's mommy. I can certainly message him. Yeah, all these people that are still alive and doing well and can have a conversation, listen to me. We need to capture their stories. Absolutely. Oh, she lives here. She lives in Snug Harbor. Renee lives in Miami. Well, that's not the same aunt then. This is somebody else. Because there's another aunt that I was going to interview, but she's overseas. Oh. Okay. All right. So I'll figure it out. I'm confusing the aunts, I think, but we'll get it figured out. Thank you so much, Jim. Michelle Ann says, remember them well. I grew up across from them on Mary Street. Wish I could go back to those days. I would go there and sit on the porch. Some good times. Good morning, Sandy. Happy Monday. My mother had 9 of us to raise as a single mother. When my father leave, but she done good. God bless your soul. Thank you so much, Miss Sherry Ann. And this is the thing, mothers in those days really stepped up to the plate and did so much amazing things. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna find out which aunt Shirley was gonna put me in touch with. But I even did an interview with Shirley's mom and her aunt. Now her aunt has passed away, and that's a legacy in a video that they can keep as a family. So these things are just, trust me, you'll appreciate it once something happens to your loved ones, because it's just a memory that you can keep forever. Someone says, yep, we need to keep our culture alive, like everybody else, sorry. All right. Thank you, Shaka says, per your grandpa's origins, Auntie Sandy, don't forget that St. Elizabeth was settled by Caymanians during several migrations, the biggest and latest of which occurred in 1933 after the 32 storm. I think, she passed away already? Oh, she did? Ooh. Somebody said, now that woman, Miss Sarah Lee, will give you some laughs. Oh, sorry I didn't get to interview her. Don't forget our Caymanians hailing from Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. Yes, 1933. He left before then, but yeah, it was quite an amazing time, quite frankly. Someone says, I'd like to encourage you to do a sit down with Jenny Manderson. And I've requested that already. I just got to chase up people. It normally takes a little minute to get these done. But yeah, she is also on my list. You know what? I'm going to do that right now before I forget. Thank you so much for the recommendation. Absolutely. Send me as many as you can think of, because sometimes it's just a matter of me chasing people back up. Wow. Thank you so much for that. Amazing. All right. We will get that arranged. Thank you. Good recommendation. Appreciate it. That person DM'd me a recommendation. All right. Stop selling out and stop tearing down the old homes, right? Miss Soto's awesome. Cayman is in her heart. All right, so let's see if we can't get a hold of her for an interview. All right, folks. Listen, I'm going to go. I've got lots and lots of work that I need to get done before I'm off again on Thursday. So remember, no show Thursday, Friday. But yeah, I didn't know she had passed either, but let me confirm that. Let me confirm, because I don't know. But we will, thank you for the recommendation. All right. So we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. We do have a lot to talk about. Again, congrats to the Cayman sort of entourage that is there in Barbados enjoying Carafesta. Big shout out to the Cayman Islands government in relation to the lighthouse, which they have now placed under contract. So CMR got that snippet, and I was hopeful I could have gone to Cayman Brac and spent some time there. But because of my leg situation, I really didn't want to push it in terms of traveling. So we'll touch a little bit on Dr. J. Saran tomorrow as well, his continuing saga we'll talk about the surgeon who's been charged with manslaughter as well. So lots to talk about. But anywho, you guys have a lovely Monday. Who is at Margate? Oh, yeah, yes. By the time I was really pushing to get it done, I think cognitively and stuff, she wasn't really, at Margaret. Oh gosh. Oh, sorry. Came on Voices interview Miss Vivian, an iconic caller. Oh yes, from East End. That's a good one, Anthony. Okay. And I did miss Elrita from Georgetown. Oh gosh, she was so fascinating. And she hasn't been well lately. I hope she makes a full recovery, but I know she's been under the weather and she was actually in the hospital. I remember the Sotos, Miss Elrita and Renee. Don't remember his brother. Our family lived down the road next to Lobster Pot before we moved to the U.S., says Wanda. So many good memories. Like, oh my goodness, we need to capture, like I said, as many of these as possible. So I put those 3 people on my list. So I've got Miss Manderson as a recommendation, Miss Soto, and who was the other one? Miss Vivian. Yes, thanks, Anthony, for that. So some really amazing recommendations. So I'm going to try to get on those as quickly as possible. Oh, somebody has her number. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Y'all making it easy for me today. Thank you. I appreciate it. Nice. Okay. All right, folks. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in, and have yourselves a fantastic and wonderful day. And we'll catch up tomorrow morning. All right. We're not done with you yet. Child, try to go behave. We got work to do. Get to work. All right, folks. See you tomorrow morning.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.